evening, everybody. Well, that's a responsive audience. Tonight it's a really great pleasure for me to welcome you to this tribute event, which is going to celebrate 20 years of leadership by Shirley Ann Jackson as our president of Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. Now, many of you in the audience may not realize one truly extraordinary aspect of this occasion. The median tenure, which means lifespan for those of you who are engineers, of a university president, according to recent figures, is just about 5 years. And the percentage of women holding that position, while currently only 30%, was a lot lower than that 20 years ago. But as we're going to learn over the course of this evening, Shirley Jackson has been transcending expectations for a very long time. And we here at Rensselaer know that we could not have been more fortunate than to have had her dedicated guidance, keen intellect, and foresight for the past 2 decades. With her in command, we have essentially rebuilt the campus. We've increased the number of students who seek to come to Rensselaer by a factor of 4. We've revolutionized and are continuing to revolutionize the way in which we educate our students. And perhaps most important, we've elevated and redefined the way we treat and nurture these young people on their journey towards adulthood. So tonight, we're honoring a woman who is a pioneer, an entrepreneur, and a sensitive visionary. She's our rock star. You will hear from others and can see in the program some of the highlights of Shirley Jackson's many accomplishments in the service of Rensselaer. 20 years ago, she took the helm of what was then and is now the nation's oldest technological university and announced that we should boldly aim for the stars. And Rensselaer has done just that. By embracing her vision, the new Polytechnic, we stand at the crossroads for promising and far-reaching collaborations among our superb faculty and with external partners, and we lead by bringing new perspectives and technological advancements to bear on the great challenges and opportunities of the 21st century. So please join me now in giving a special welcome to our guest of honor, the 18th president of Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, Shirley Ann Jackson. Now I'd like to introduce you to our Master of Ceremonies for the evening, Dr. John Bennett. It's our benefit that he's here. Dr. John Bennett, RPI class of 1974. Dr. Bennett is president and CEO of CDPHP, which is the Capital Region's leading not-for-profit health plan. CDPHP has been recognized as one of the top-rated plans in the nation and is consistently named as one of the best companies to work for in New York. He's an advocate for stemming the rising cost of healthcare, and as such, he directs attention to population health as a way to connect practice to policy in improving health outcomes. He was awarded the 2016 Marketer Communicator of the Year and is recognized for promoting the advancement of technology in healthcare. The partnership activities between Rensselaer and CDPHP have been transformative, particularly in the use of artificial intelligence to improve patient care. CDPHP's leadership in providing our students, faculty, and staff with one of the top-rated health plans in the nation promotes and improves the most important aspect in everyone's life, their health. So Dr. Bennett, welcome.
Thank you, Arthur. It is indeed an honor to be here. It's a privilege to join forces with my alma mater on projects that make a difference in people's lives. And likewise, it's an honor to serve as tonight's Master of Ceremonies in recognition of a remarkable figure, a transformer of institutions, and a bold leader who has, in Arthur's words, aimed for the stars. As one of the top health plans in the nation, and the very best in New York State, it's no surprise that Dr. Shirley Ann Jackson has put the health of her employees in the hands of CDPHP. And it's a job we are deeply honored to do. But my history predates Dr. Jackson and CDPHP, for that matter, my history with RPI, that is. At 17 years old, I wanted to be an engineer. So I made my way up to the North Country from Brooklyn to attend school at RPI. It was here that I fell in love with this great institution, the city of Troy, and the woman who would become my wife, and still is for 44 years. It is because of RPI that I came to the Capital Region, built a career, and raised my family here. Over the years, I've had the incredible opportunity to watch the transformation of this community and the vision of Dr. Jackson, which has literally put the Capital Region on a national stage for innovation in higher education. Tonight, we'll be hearing from leaders in their own right, each of whom holds a special place in their heart for Rensselaer and its president. And there will be music, a favorite among President Jackson's varied interests, and particularly so tonight, as the pieces will be performed by the very students and faculty she spends her days in service of. We'd like to start this evening off with a short film that tells the story of Dr. Jackson's journey and all that she has brought to Rensselaer and to the world since her arrival here in Troy 20 years ago. So ladies and gentlemen, Transcend, Transform, celebrating 20 years of leadership.
A remarkable journey began 20 years ago, one that has transcended every expectation and transformed the nation's oldest technological university into one of the world's premier higher education and research powerhouses, an institutional force aimed at addressing the great global challenges of the 21st century.
At the lead in this journey stands an equally remarkable woman, a trailblazer who is already in her early life faced obstacles and transcended them. What is more, President Shirley Ann Jackson took along others in this effort to overcome long-standing societal and institutional barriers, a personal trait that she was to bring to all her endeavors. When Dr. Jackson arrived at Rensselaer in 1999, she brought with her not just a resume of accomplishments, but one of firsts. The first African-American woman to receive a doctorate from MIT in any field. The first woman and first African-American to head the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission, the first chair of the International Nuclear Regulatory Association, which she spearheaded to promote nuclear safety around the world. And when she accepted the charge and the challenge of serving as the 18th president of Rensselaer, another historic first occurred. She became the first African-American woman to lead a top-ranked national research university. Along with these precedents, Dr. Jackson brought with her a suite of intrinsic strengths as a strong and innovative scientist across disciplines, an astute and transformative public policy leader, and a keen advisor. President Shirley Ann Jackson brought this resolute and pioneering spirit of hers to Rensselaer at the exact time the Institute needed it most. In 1999, the Institute had seen 5 presidents in just 13 years. Its board of trustees recognized that the university needed to take bold measures to revive and grow. President Jackson has done nothing short of transforming Rensselaer from a reputable and rigorous technical institute into a comprehensive research university devoted to global challenges. Clearly, the challenges for this historic institute at the cusp of the 21st century were great. But Dr. Jackson came to Rensselaer because of this. She understood that many of the nation's top technological universities, including her own MIT, had been modeled after Rensselaer, and she wanted this to be true again. So President Jackson did what she encourages others to do: step out and take a risk. She began with Rensselaer's founding motto, knowledge and thoroughness. In other words, she began with a plan, the first such strategic endeavor in 25 years for the Institute. Ambitious and integrated, achievements in the first years under the Rensselaer Plan 2000 were formidable. Enrollment and selectivity rose, including the implementation of a new first-year experience.
Alumni giving began setting records, and in 2001, an unrestricted gift of $360 million became the largest gift ever at that time to any public or private university in the United States. In 2004, Rensselaer was named America's most connected campus by the Princeton Review. And the improvements to the quality of student life on campus just kept amassing. National rankings improved as a result, but President Jackson's vision aimed higher. To elevate Rensselaer from an institution centered on undergraduate education with selected research strengths to a full research university with global reach and global impact would require more. We must go further, she said, if we are to provide an environment that gives meaning to Amos Eaton's vision of hands-on education. To accomplish this, the Rensselaer Plan set a goal of increasing research funding dramatically, from $40 million to $100 million per year, and tripling the number of doctorates awarded annually. At the dawn of the new millennium, Rensselaer staked a claim for research leadership in a new arena, biotechnology, along with bolstering existing programs of critical interest to the day. To amass the brainpower crucial for the creation of these new programs, world-class faculty were recruited to form research constellations. And shortly after, these collaborating masses of research luminaries would have cutting-edge facilities. In 2002, the campus broke ground on the Center for Biotechnology and Interdisciplinary Studies, the first major new building project since 1986. It was a landmark year. Over the next decade, the campus witnessed more than $700 million in capital improvements. And new degree programs were added across disciplines. To be sure, bridging divergent views to gain new insights is a hallmark of President Jackson's leadership. In 2003, she held the first of what was to become an annual President's Commencement Colloquy, in which she brings together diverse minds such as an astronaut and Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist, a Supreme Court justice and Nobel laureate physicist, leaders of the world's largest institutions, and a legendary musician. It was just this eagerness to address the hard problems facing the world through the use of wide-ranging collaborations that brought about Dr. Jackson's vision of the new Polytechnic. This vision would serve to redefine the Institute, aiming to break the paradigms that can often constrain the application of ideas to new arenas. Perhaps the most visible articulation that would come to shape the new Polytechnic took place at the unveiling of MPAC in 2008. A beautiful marriage of arts, science, and technology, the Curtis R. Priam Experimental Media and Performing Arts Center is the embodiment of President Jackson's new paradigm for cross-disciplinary research and education. This same year, the $1.4 billion Renaissance at Rensselaer campaign goal was surpassed, 9 months in advance of its target end date. The following year, President Jackson herself was appointed to serve the nation on a team of leading scientists as an advisor to the executive office of the U.S. President. Her myriad of national and international collaborations multiplied into the 2010s, as did her insight into the national and global issues in which Rensselaer would now play a role: advanced manufacturing, cybersecurity, and digital technology. As President Jackson was extending her stature as a world figure, so was Rensselaer. By the time the Rensselaer Plan 2024 took shape, the Institute could proudly own its bold proclamation: why not change the world? The new plan forged by President Jackson's leadership set out to merge the arts and sciences even further, with initiatives such as ArtX, which helps students reach across academic divisions to spur new ways to think and discover. Its focus on students led to the launch just this year of The Arch, designed to upend old teaching and learning modalities to spark new opportunities and ideas for students at critical junctures in their college experience. To address challenges in a rapidly changing world, the 2024 plan identifies 2 new research umbrellas. The first devotes attention to today's massive digital interconnectivity and how it can enable new means of discovery. The second attends to our natural resources, public health, and the built environment to help ensure a sustainable future. The plan also calls to expand Rensselaer's cross-sectoral research partnerships, both small and large.
In all, the blueprint pointing to Rensselaer's bicentennial is even bolder than the first, defining more than 100 far-reaching aspirations. The results are in, and they are impressive. In 2018, Rensselaer received a record number of applications, 20,337, a quadrupling during Dr. Jackson's tenure as president. 24 new degree programs offered, 384 new tenured and tenure-track faculty hired, a tripling of research expenditures with 5 signature thrusts, a decreased faculty-to-student ratio, and this just in. The class of 2023 is the strongest academically and most diverse class in Rensselaer history. And in a singularly important achievement reached last year, the university's endowment is now higher than its debt. This milestone comes on the heels of a $1 billion capital campaign that aims to seize on challenges and opportunities well into the 21st century. President Shirley Ann Jackson is leaving a mark far greater than herself along her journey that began 20 years ago.
I make this pledge to you here today, that if we all work together, we will reach our goal to be among the preeminent technological research universities, without question, without exception.
True to her pledge, we will became we are.
Wow. Universities are highly complex institutions. They serve an array of communities and stakeholders. Their missions are multifaceted, and the call to be flexible and adapt to change in a complex global environment is continuous. This is even truer if you happen to be in a world-class technological research university. Well, lucky for us, we have a president who rises every day to this challenge and seizes it. President Jackson is Rensselaer. She has shaped this historic institute over the course of 20 years, remaining true to her pledge that if we all work together, we will become the preeminent technological research university. This pledge Dr. Jackson made when she accepted the charge and challenge of serving as the 18th president is evident across all aspects of Rensselaer. It is the mud and concrete, the mortar of the 4 pillars she identified in the Rensselaer Plan 2024: people, programs, platforms, and partnerships. Tonight, we will hear from leaders who will share their insights into how each of these 4 pillars support and drive the ability of Rensselaer to educate, innovate, improve lives, and to have a global impact. We will also hear about another pillar, a 5th auxiliary, one that facilitates and brightens all 4 foundational pillars, that of philanthropy. The generosity and altruistic concern for human welfare that drives givers is evident everywhere we look on this very fine campus. This is due in large part to the clarity of President Jackson's vision and her capability to share that vision with passionate supporters. Many years ago, CDPHP saw the vision of RPI, and we knew it was something we wanted to be part of. Since then, CDPHP and RPI have collaborated on dozens of initiatives that range from health and wellness, including the installation of the CDPHP Cycle Bike Share program on campus, to our most recent partnership with the Institute for Data Exploration and Applications, which is using artificial intelligence to improve patient health right here in our community. CDPHP is incredibly grateful to not only support this campus with the highest level of health care, but we are thankful to call you a true partner. Our first speaker An active trustee since 2011 and alumna, knows quite a bit about the people that shape and invigorate Rensselaer. Vice Chair of the Board, Wanda Denson-Lowe, also serves currently as the Institute's Audit Committee Chair, and prior to this, on boards of organizations that further education and opportunity, the National YMCA, the Japanese American National Museum, the Windward School, and College Bound. Active community leadership has defined the activities of Ms. Denson-Lowe over the course of her 30-plus years as a distinguished corporate executive and lawyer. She has been recognized as one of the 30 most powerful women in business, as well as the recipient of numerous awards for her invaluable contributions to community. Welcome, Ms. Denson-Lowe.
Good evening. How does one person bring together so many people under a common vision for Rensselaer? It is through leadership. J.P. Cotter said, leadership is about setting a direction. It's about creating a vision and empowering and inspiring people to want to achieve that vision and enabling them to do so with energy and passion and speed through an effective strategy. Leadership is about mobilizing a group of people in order to jump into a better future. Dr. Jackson began her strategy by attracting brilliant and talented deans, faculty, administrators, and staff, many of whom are here tonight. She not only communicated to them that vision, but she captured their imaginations and inspired their hearts around what Rensselaer could become. These brilliant, talented faculty, deans, administrators, and staff, in turn, attracted, not surprisingly, brilliant, talented, and creative students. That pillar of people began with attracting the right people. A leader takes people where they want to go. However, a great leader takes people where they ought to be. Rosalind Carter. Who is this woman that many describe as intimidating, despite her 5'2" stature, her generous, compassionate nature, and her keen intellect? Believe it or not, she is shy, an introvert, who more often than not is not comfortable in large groups. Those of us with introverted tendencies know that she had to overcome her shyness in order to lead. Dr. Jackson's deep devotion to her kids, as she calls them, our RPI students, is rarely publicized. I've been present to see the pain in her face as she worries about students and others who have been seriously ill or injured, and she is often one of the first people at the hospital when a student is seriously hurt or ill. Who is this woman that we all keep talking about? Her traits and accomplishments conjure up the notion of a modern Renaissance woman. Well, what does that really mean? As I researched that term, here's what I discovered. A Renaissance woman is curious and a risk taker. She is creative, she perseveres, and she has self-discipline. She has a thirst for knowledge and new experiences, along with deep expertise in one field, but is exceptional in many other fields. This thirst for knowledge and new experiences is something Dr. Jackson has imbued within the RPI culture. You see this thirst for knowledge in ArtX, which enables students to discover the interconnectivity between art, science, and technology. This thirst for knowledge and new experiences is embedded within class, clustered learning, advocacy, and support for students, where RPI's comprehensive approach to the student experience ensures that our students not only feel a sense of community, but they also learn how to persevere despite obstacles. Dr. Jackson's vision for class enables RPI students to be part of a strong community of learners and helps our students develop the intellectual agility, multicultural sophistication, and global awareness that will enable RPI to continue into the next millennium. Bill Taylor said that the true mark of a leader is the willingness to stick with a bold course of action. As the rest of the world wonders why you're not marching in step with the status quo, real leaders are happy to zig while others zag. In an era of hyper-competition and nonstop disruption, the only way to stand out from the crowd is to stand for something special. She was bold and measured at a time in our university's history when, to bring it back from the brink, we needed bold ideas and out-of-the-box thinking. We needed new programs of study, and we needed our students to have skills that exceeded what industry needed. We needed faculty to teach new programs of study. We needed innovative research and new research platforms and tools utilized in a truly collaborative way through constellations and interdisciplinary research. Many institutions say they have interdisciplinary study, but in many institutions, research is siloed. RPI, in contrast, is truly collaborative and multidisciplinary in its approach now, but let's remember, it was not always that way. Many thought it was not only bold, but foolish to collaborate across schools and across disciplines. These bold new approaches, however, attracted world-class faculty, brought in needed research dollars, and attracted industry and, of course, students. There are many people in this room that helped make this happen, but it could not have happened without the visionary, bold leadership of Dr. Shirley Ann Jackson. A few years ago, I was fortunate enough to speak at a reception in Washington, D.C., when Dr. Jackson was honored as a National Medal of Science awardee. At that time, and for those of you who may have been present, I came across a quote from a singer, songwriter, and activist who was considered a pioneer in his field. His name was Bob Marley. And for those of you who were present, you may remember this quote. If the woman is amazing, she's not easy. And if she's easy, she won't be amazing. Interestingly enough, when I talked about that quote on that auspicious occasion, as I looked around the audience, I'm seeing kind of the same looks, some perplexed, some looking at their significant others going, yeah, I understand that. Women who are not easy have exacting standards because in a world still controlled mostly by men, women must be great to succeed. They have exacting standards because a mediocre woman would never be a CEO, a university president, or any other kind of president. An amazing woman challenges the status quo and sees beyond the horizon. She understands not just what the future will bring, but what possibility it holds. Dr. Shirley Ann Jackson is an amazing woman, and thankfully for all of us, she's not easy. Because if she were, RPI would not be where it is today. And now, I'd like to introduce two students. We mentioned CLASS, Clustered Learning Advocacy and Support for Students, We're fortunate tonight to have two students, one current and one recent graduate, who will share their firsthand experiences of how class has enriched them personally and enabled them to achieve their goals. Naila Brown, a Bachelor of Science in Business Management, an MS in Business Analytics. She is a Jean and Frank M. Fisher, class of '64, Patroon Scholar, and Gino Gasparo, BS in Mechanical Engineering and Masters of Engineering, and he is was a Barbara W. and William J. Raymond Scholar. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Denson Lowe. Gino and I are honored to speak tonight about class and just how this unique and complete student experience at Rensselaer is helping to shape our futures.
Yes, thank you. As students, class challenged and engaged us across so many aspects of who we are. As students, lifelong learners, professionals, leaders, and citizens of an increasingly diverse and fast-developing world.
This is very true, especially the way class connects us to a valuable and ongoing network of faculty, staff, and fellow students. As a commuter student at Rensselaer, for example, I took advantage of the class framework of residential clustering by making full use of the off-campus commons. This space, dedicated to students living off campus like myself, was invaluable to me. I was able to work in the commons, meet others, and get helpful information, such as leads on apartments for rent locally and internship opportunities. In fact, the CCPD, the Center for Career and Professional Development, helped me find my current internship at the New York State Office of Information Technology Services, or ITS. Without the resume checks and interview advice provided by this center, I would not be working at ITS in what's turned out to be the perfect opportunity to apply the skills I am learning in my Business Analytics Master's program. What's more, I feel strongly that I am making a difference. ITS was created in 2012 to transform IT services across all 50 state entities. My work analyzes internally generated data to help spot inaccuracies and inefficiencies. This helps us understand the data in order to develop the new applications that, in turn, will enable the state to work smarter for its citizens, other state agencies, and businesses.
For me, all that I was exposed to through class not only enriched my education, it opened up amazing professional opportunities. Prior to graduating this spring with a Master's of Engineering, I accepted a position as a Level 2 manufacturing engineer with Haas Automation in Oxnard, California, the largest machine tool builder in the Western world. During my 2-month training period, I was assigned to make improvements within the rotary table assembly area, the first ever product developed by Haas. For this project, I applied what I learned during my time at Rensselaer in hands-on team building projects with classmates, at my co-op, as well as by earning certifications in Six Sigma and lean manufacturing. As a result, I was able to save the company over 1,500 hours in labor a year and to develop a simple inventory process that constituted additional savings for Haas. At my project's completion, I was invited to be part of a small team that is developing and proving out new manufacturing processes and layouts to develop one of the most advanced facilities for manufacturing Haas computer-controlled tool machines. This is an amazing assignment and an honor for me to take part in it as I embark on my career as an engineer.
There's no doubt that class, in its whole student approach, is enabling us to achieve our goals. My degree in business analytics was added during President Jackson's tenure, and it's now recognized as one of the top 3 Masters of Business Analytics programs in the United States. But it's not just the small class size, top-tier facility, and the opportunities for real-world applications that put me on this path at Rensselaer. It's the fact that I'm gaining a range of skill sets, I am a member of the Rensselaer Motorsports business team for one, which has allowed me to exercise the skills I learned in my business classes in a technology-focused organization. It's also just a lot of fun and has definitely helped me to stand out in interviews. I also play cello in the Rensselaer Orchestra, an invaluable experience. Art is an essential part of who I am and helps inform whatever work I undertake.
My involvement in the mentor programs at Rensselaer was by far the most immediately rewarding of my time on campus. It captured for me the best part of class, the A for advocacy and the S for support. I taught calculus to help strengthen these skills in incoming students through the I Persist mentoring program, as well as the more intensive Bridge program. In addition to teaching, we took participants on weekend outings to hang out at local lakes, play ultimate frisbee, and go whitewater rafting. In the spirit of the class experience, spearheaded by President Jackson, these are complete student experiences, ones that engage the whole student within a supportive whole community.
Gino and I recognize, now more than ever, just how important these diverse and cross-disciplinary opportunities at Rensselaer continue to be for us. And we also understand that they were made possible by President Jackson's visionary leadership. Dr. Jackson, I am very grateful for your efforts at creating a university that prepares its students so well to address the questions and challenges of today, while also providing a well-rounded experience that allows for personal growth in multiple areas.
President Jackson, the programs and improvements that you have put in place over the past 20 years have allowed graduates like me to make an immediate impact on the world. Thank you for your transformative leadership. As I stay connected with my alma mater, the oldest technological research university in the nation, I am excited to see and take part in what the future of Rensselaer has to bring.
So can I come back and get into this class program? Because we didn't have that in 1970. We didn't have a lot of things in 1970. We didn't have Dr. Jackson in 1970. Where were you, Dr. Jackson? That was terrific. The success of class, as described by these remarkable students, exemplifies the attention President Jackson gives to the programs and platforms that serve to elevate Rensselaer and move the Institute forward into our increasingly complex world. Next, we will hear from two exceptional leaders here at Rensselaer, Dr. Mary Simoni, Dean of the School of Humanities, Arts, and Social Sciences, and Dr. Prabhat Hajela, Provost. Dr. Simoni is a Steinway artist, composer, author, and educator who has taught courses in computer science and music and developed curriculum at the nexus of engineering and the arts, a true Renaissance figure for our vision of the new Polytechnic. Provost Hajela is a prolific author and researcher, having published over 275 papers and 4 books in the areas of structural and multidisciplinary optimization. Responsible for all academic portfolios at Rensselaer, he also works to strengthen the research missions of the Institute. Welcome, Dr. Simoni and Hajela.
Thank you, Dr. Bennett, for that kind introduction, and good evening, everyone. I'm honored to highlight some of the 24 new degree programs, yes, 24, that have launched during Dr. Jackson's tenure as president of this great institution. But where should I begin? Our shared history has taught us that discovery resides at the nexus of the disciplines. This principle embodies Dr. Jackson's clear vision of the new Polytechnic for Rensselaer. As she so eloquently stated, The intransigent social, cultural, and economic dilemmas that face humanity today cannot be addressed by a single discipline, sector, nation, or geographic region working alone. We have responded to this challenge by designing and delivering a full menu of interdisciplinary programs, each nationally ranked, that span all 5 schools and Rensselaer at Hartford. Certainly, we should boast about our information technology and web science program, ranked #1 among national colleges and universities. We engineers and humanists are also especially proud of the brilliantly conceived and passionately delivered program in design, innovation, and society. Examples of programs that transcend silos of knowledge abound at this institute. Biological neurosciences synergizes excellently with cognitive science and psychological science. And our graduate program in architectural sciences draws from research across all the design disciplines. Such examples are also testaments to our dynamic times. Our top-ranked program in quantitative finance and risk analytics prepares students well for the oncoming data deluge of the 21st century. We have so much pride and gratitude for Dr. Jackson's time at the helm that I could quickly exhaust my time. So, as we love to do in my school, let me tell you a story. When I was considering the position of dean for my home state, some 500 miles away, I already knew about the accomplishments of the faculty, the pioneering research across disciplines, and the inventiveness of Rensselaer's entrepreneurial students. But I asked myself, who is Dr. Shirley Ann Jackson? I could see from afar that Dr. Jackson is a trailblazer, an accomplished scientist, and a person who has pledged her devotion to this university, a resolute proponent of the arts with an insatiable curiosity for what could be, and she seemed to have a knack for surrounding herself with a diverse assembly of human talent. So one beautiful day in May 2011, I was filled with curiosity and eager to understand how someone like me might fit into Dr. Jackson's vision for Rensselaer. I finally had the opportunity to meet her in person. Rather than the expected interview, our encounter was more like a conversational dance. The first thing I observed was the sheer force of her will. It was clear to me that if she put her mind to something, it was going to happen. When she told me about the Mandarin Project, she revealed ambition with an intellectual agility that traversed disparate domains of knowledge. Very creative, I thought. She talked about the natural beauty surrounding Troy, the waterways, the mountains. These remarks captured my imagination as a Midwestern kid, because my notion of downhill skiing, after all, was to go to a retired landfill. Real mountains at last. I decided then and there that this could work. Little did I know that this talk of mountains was but a metaphor for what was to come. Along the entirety of my Rensselaer journey, Dr. Jackson has provided a firm foothold for each shift of the tectonic plates. Each climb supported by her leadership's esprit de corps. And when I faltered, I was flatly told, try again. An especially gratifying summit for me was establishment of the Bachelor of Science in Music, the curricular instantiation of ArtX, the paradigm that marries the STEM disciplines with art writ large. Here we deepen our student study of music through mathematics, physics, computer science, and management. And I have to tell you, the very moment a Rensselaer grad invents time travel, I intend to visit campus and become a music student right here. And now, please welcome Provost Prabhat Hajela.
Thank you, Dean Simoni, and good evening. Indeed, the creation of new academic and research programs is further evidence of President Jackson's transformative accomplishments for Rensselaer over the past 2 decades. Together with the strategic platforms set in place through her leadership, the intellectual footprint of this university has altered and expanded dramatically. These changes, in their sheer magnitude, required a paradigm shift. Fortunately for all of us, in stepped a leader with a vision and strategic know-how to nurture the broad-ranging thinking necessary to achieve this. President Jackson exhorted us each to lead from the front, a position that she described as offering a fresh and unobstructed view of the challenges and opportunities that lay ahead. Very early in her tenure, President Jackson emphasized the need for new interdisciplinary research platforms to support our people and programs. Under her leadership, the Institute put the stake in the ground to invest in biotechnology and the life sciences, a true bend in the road that we may have missed altogether and that would have jeopardized our standing among the leading universities in the world. President Jackson saw the need for this at a time when unprecedented science and technology developments were redefining our way of life. The influence of the Center for Biotechnology and Interdisciplinary Studies on our research enterprise has been both deep and impactful. Our emergent strength in these areas has allowed us to forge new research partnerships, such as the one with the Icahn School of Medicine in New York City, which alone has allowed us to garner over $40 million in research funding over the past 5 years. Another example is President Jackson's vision for establishing a distinct platform in information technology and the computational sciences. CCI, or the Center for Computational Innovation, fueled the growth of research programs in these domains. It became home to one of the fastest supercomputers at an American university and continues to enjoy that distinction today. Dr. Jackson was also an early proponent of establishing a strong research presence in data science, pointing to data as the new resource that would drive economic growth and development. To support this thrust, she established IDEA, the Institute for Data Exploration and Applications. Now, against the backdrop of growth in research programs, Dr. Jackson repeatedly reminded us of a crucial truth, that research potentiates good teaching and that best educational programs are those linked to strong research programs. As a result of this, new academic programs have developed, and in turn, a vibrant intellectual diversity. New and highly regarded degree programs in business analytics and in quantitative finance and risk analytics owe their standing in no small part to this focused effort. Research programs and platforms also impacted our pedagogy. The deployment of synthetic, human-scale immersive environments enabled by MPAC and enhanced with AI-powered intelligent agents in the teaching of Chinese language and culture, what we refer to as the Mandarin Project, speaks to Dr. Jackson's personal commitment to have our research advancements permeate our teaching and instruction. Her far-reaching view has led to an even broader impact. Every undergraduate at Rensselaer is now required to complete coursework that prepares them in the use and understanding of modern tools of data analytics, what we call the data dexterity requirement. Dr. Jackson, on the occasion of this landmark celebration, I wish to express the sincere gratitude felt on behalf of all my colleagues working across the academic portfolios for your visionary and supportive leadership. At a personal level, I wish to add that the journey has been most rewarding, and I'm grateful for your guidance and mentorship along its way. Thank you. And now I would like to introduce to you someone who can share more insight into what it takes to grow a research enterprise with global impact. Dr. Jonathan Dordick is a special advisor to the President for Strategic Initiatives. He has worked closely with Dr. Jackson since her arrival, having helped conceive and direct the remarkable Center for Biotechnology and Interdisciplinary Studies. He also acted for 6 years as Vice President for Research. Today, Professor Dordick is the Howard P. Eiserman Professor of Chemical and Biological Engineering, Biomedical Engineering, and Biological Sciences. Welcome, Professor Dordick.
Thank you very much, Prabhat, and welcome everyone. Rensselaer has been transformed by President Jackson into a Tier 1 research university. The growth in sponsored research that has transpired over the course of her tenure is truly extraordinary. The Rensselaer Research Enterprise has grown from about $30 million per year in 1999 to well over $100 million today. This enterprise is strongly supported by the federal government, including major support from federal agencies that we just didn't have much of when she first came. For example, the National Institutes of Health, which climbed from less than $400,000 back in 1999 to approaching $20 million per year today. In addition to federal funding, Rensselaer now receives roughly 16% of its sponsored research funding from industry. This places us only behind MIT in the percentage of funding awarded by industry to the university. This impressive growth, orchestrated by President Jackson, is due in part to defining areas of research that intersect with and leverage existing Rensselaer strengths. The 5 signature thrusts are clearly a manifestation of that, with focal areas in biotechnology and the life sciences, nanotechnology and advanced materials, computational sciences and engineering, energy, the environment, and smart systems, and media, the arts, sciences, and technology, embodied here in the Experimental Media and Performing Arts Center. Fulfilling Dr. Jackson's vision, in each of these signature research thrusts, we have hired faculty, developed new undergraduate and graduate program linkages, and expanded the basic research enterprise to address challenging societal problems that require intellectual breadth. So the Center for Biotechnology and Interdisciplinary Studies, or CBIS, still as beautiful and functionally pertinent today as when it opened 15 years ago, is a prime example of that. And just echoing what Prabhat said, one of Dr. Jackson's first bold statements was that a great research university in the 21st century cannot be great unless it invests in biotechnology. And that was really just the beginning. Within a year of her inauguration, her vision was laid, and in just 3 more, we were reaping the rewards of one of the most advanced biotechnology research facilities in the US, a nexus at the frontiers of engineering and the life, physical, and computational sciences. And I need to say that I'm a beneficiary of Dr. Jackson's vision, with a wonderful set of laboratories within CBIS that enhances my research, the work that my students do, and those of my colleagues and collaborators. Today, I'm thrilled and honored to remain at her side as a special advisor for strategic initiatives. On a personal note, I have learned a great deal from Shirley Jackson over our 20 years working together, particularly about how a top-tier research university works. For me, raising the funding and doing the research was the easy part. Managing the research and implementing a seminal strategic vision was much harder. Yet Dr. Jackson guided me through this process. For this, Dr. Jackson, I am forever grateful for your mentorship and your friendship. Again, Shirley, thank you for what you've given to me personally, to my fellow faculty researchers, and to all of Rensselaer. We are an immensely better university because of what you have done and continue to do. Thank you.
Our next speaker is someone who embodies the very definition of fruitful partnerships between industry and academia. 10 years ago, he stepped into a long-standing collaboration with Rensselaer that had begun in 1964 with the IBM System 360 and has since helped steer the Institute to the forefront of research and innovation. Dr. John Kelly, Executive Vice President of IBM, is responsible for helping guide IBM's global technical and business success. For the last 26 years, he has cultivated IBM's technical community as the leader in US patents. We are fortunate here at Rensselaer to be counted among the dozens of joint ventures orchestrated by Dr. Kelly across the globe. The body of research he champions is employing powerful new tools of understanding to solve the world's most intractable problems and to improve lives. The Rensselaer-IBM partnership is one that is unique among major universities in the breadth and depth of its collaborations. The potential of artificial intelligence, advanced data analytics, and cognitive computing to open up new frontiers of knowledge cannot be overstated. And it is all happening here, thanks largely to the durable cooperative partnership honed by Dr. John Kelly, Ph.D., class of 1980, and recipient of 3 honorary degrees, including a Doctor of Humane Letters from Rensselaer. Welcome, Dr. Kelly.
Thank you, Dr. Bennett. It's a pleasure to be here this evening speaking about partnerships. Well, if there's one thing I learned in the 4 decades since I left Rensselaer in the technology industry, it's that no one person or enterprise or institution has the resources or the talent or the wherewithal to do truly great things. And so I was thrilled when President Jackson announced that partnerships would be one of the big P's in Rensselaer's strategic plan. However, little did I know at the time what that would lead to. As Dr. Bennett mentioned, a decade ago, we started to embark on a grand expansion of the partnership between Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute and the IBM Corporation. A decade ago, we announced that we would place the world's largest supercomputer at any independent higher education institution on the globe here at Rensselaer. And I still remember placing a bet with Shirley Jackson. I said, I bet I can build that supercomputer faster than you can get that building ready. She won by 1 day. And barely was that installed when we started to think about, that's not big enough. We need a bigger computer platform for Rensselaer so that we can sustain our leadership for our researchers and our students. And we went on to inaugurate and place Amos, a 1 petaflop, and for those of you that aren't computer scientists, that means that this computer does 1 billion calculations 1,000,000 times a second here at Rensselaer. But we didn't stop there. With the advent of artificial intelligence and IBM's Watson, we woke up the world to artificial intelligence. And in January of 2013, Rensselaer was the first higher education institution in the world to receive Watson. Watson went to school at RPI. And we went on to expand that collaboration in artificial intelligence to the Cecil Immersive Center here in this building. We went on to develop applications of artificial intelligence in health, in our HEALS Center, and on and on and on in the application space. And then last year, we announced that we were just going to, in a sense, get married. And we said that we would form a 10-year strategic partnership between Rensselaer and IBM in artificial intelligence, from the physics of AI to the most complicated applications of artificial intelligence. And as if that wasn't enough, along the way, we created a project called the Jefferson Project, where we applied the world's most advanced sensors, supercomputers, and artificial intelligence to the problem of preserving, or the challenge of preserving, fresh water. And we're now proud to say that Lake George, one of the cleanest water bodies on the planet, is the smartest lake in the world. Now, I'm sure this is something that President Jackson has realized, but it took me a drive up here this morning to realize this. President Jackson, I realized that 10 big projects in 10 years, that's an average of 1 per year. I don't think we've announced anything this year, so we have work to do in the next 2 months. That's a challenge. What an amazing depth and breadth of partnerships. In fact, Rensselaer is the largest and most critical partner academic institution in the world. But why? Why would IBM in every country in the world choose Rensselaer? It's very simple. You've seen it here tonight. The amazing faculty, the amazing students, by the way, which go on to work and create the technologies. We would not have the supercomputers I referred to. The United States would not lead today in supercomputing. We would not have Watson and artificial intelligence if it were not for the graduates of Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. And most importantly, the leadership here at Rensselaer. In every case, President Jackson challenged us to go bigger and move faster. And on behalf of IBM and me personally, President Jackson, thank you for that leadership. Now let me make a few comments on President Jackson. There's probably no one here that has seen President Shirley Ann Jackson in more situations, well, maybe Morris Washington, than me. I have seen President Jackson in research labs from Yorktown Heights to Johannesburg, South Africa. I've seen her in boardrooms. I've seen her in state government. I've seen her in federal political offices with the leadership of our country. I've been in meetings with university presidents of the greatest institutions in this country. And I've been in highly classified discussions with her in government facilities. I have witnessed her in action. Her depth and breadth are simply unmatched. Now, 5 years ago, at her 15th anniversary, I described President Jackson, as you all know, there's 5 natural forces in the universe that we know of. I described President Jackson as the 6th force of nature. But in the past 5 years, I've come to realize that I was only partially right. Now, only at RPI could I now describe this. Force, as you all know, is a method of transferring energy. It's how we get work done, force times distance. But remember, it's energy that enables work. And so I've now concluded that President Jackson is not only the 6th force of nature, but she is a new source of energy. She now ranks along with solar, wind, oil, geothermal, and yes, even nuclear. Her limitless energy inspires us all to do even greater things. Shirley, you are simply amazing, and we are so lucky to have you leading this institution for 2 decades. On behalf of the IBM Corporation, all of the IBMers here and not here, and me personally, thank you for your leadership and your friendship. Congratulations on 2 decades at Rensselaer. And now I have the privilege and honor of representing the Secretary of the Smithsonian Institution, Lonnie Bunch III, who cannot be here tonight. Now, 3 years ago, with the Smithsonian Institution's opening of its newest museum in our national capital, the Smithsonian National Museum of African American History and Culture, Rensselaer's President Shirley Ann Jackson was among the dignitaries who spoke at that dedication ceremony. As the Secretary of the Smithsonian Institution and the founder of the National Museum of African American History and Culture, Mr. Bunch now oversees 19 museums, 21 libraries, the National Zoo, and numerous research centers. The Smithsonian, after all, is the largest museum and one of the top research organizations in the world. This evening, we will learn how meaningful and long-lived this relationship has been between the Smithsonian and President Jackson. So let me read his letter since he could not be with us tonight. Dear colleagues, I deeply regret that I cannot be there with you to listen to all of your fond recollections of your times with President Jackson. I am sure that each of them reflects a core truth, a solid bedrock. Dr. Shirley Ann Jackson is a force of nature. He didn't get the memo that she's also energy. I have known Shirley well over a decade. Seared into my memory are her deeply moving words at the grand opening of the National Museum of African American History and Culture. She helped me understand how meaningful this museum would be to the people of Washington, D.C., especially the young people. Shirley spoke about growing up in a segregated DC and how the Smithsonian offered a respite. How, at our best, the Smithsonian can harbor, delight, and ennoble people of every background. That is how she spent her career, too, creating opportunities and lifting others as she rises. I am deeply grateful to Shirley's support throughout the 11-year process of building the museum. She was so generous in sharing her spirit and guidance to help craft a museum that matters. Now, everybody who knows Shirley knows that she gives tough love. I counted on her advice, even when it was advice that I did not want. And looking back, it is clear that she made our process and our museum better. Many around the Smithsonian know Shirley for her work as the former vice chair of the Board of Regents. But she has been a Smithsonian insider long before that. She talked about how, as a young person in Washington, the Smithsonian opened her eyes to the wonders of the natural world and to science. Shirley, we feel the same way about you. Time and time again, you have opened our eyes to the wonders of science. Shirley has brought her considerable genius to the Smithsonian, helping the Regents rethink the role of science at the institution. She has been a vital, inventive presence, pushing us to expand our reach, deepen our relevance, and explore how technology can transform the museum experience. All of us at the Smithsonian are grateful that this superstar, with who knows how many breakthroughs and discoveries, has offered her wisdom to our institution. Shirley has tackled the questions that all institutions of learning and research face in today's rapidly changing world. How can we collaborate across disciplines and seek new vantage points? How can we use technology to reimagine our traditional offerings? How can we serve a public who faces unprecedented global challenges? That is one of the many reasons that the Smithsonian has been so excited to collaborate with RPI. Shirley's vision of the new Polytechnic as a place of collaborative, innovative, and inclusive discovery offers a roadmap to any institution that aims to increase and diffuse knowledge. Shirley has driven forward the conversation on these issues, building sustainable change wherever she goes. She challenges, supports, guides, and transforms every room she walks into. It has been an honor and a joy to share a few of those rooms with her, and I greatly regret that I cannot be there with you all in the room tonight. Shirley, you are more than deserve all of the praise you are hearing tonight. With deepest admiration, Lonnie Bunch. Ladies and gentlemen, how many people do you know that could collaborate in technology with the IBM Corporation and at the same time transform the Smithsonian Institution? She's very special. Congratulations, Shirley.
Wow, a computer that does, what, 1 billion calculations 1 million times a second? I think that's a little faster than the slide rule I used in 1970 as an RPI freshman. Here to add to Dr. Jackson's extensive and varied background in governance is Dr. Ralph Izzo, longtime chairman and chief executive officer of Public Service Enterprise Group, Incorporated, a 116-year New Jersey business that invests in critical energy infrastructure. Like Dr. Jackson, Dr. Izzo began his career as a research scientist in physics. He is often to speak to government agencies on matters pertaining to national energy policy. He is, like our President Jackson, a highly known and well-respected leader in the utilities industry and public policy. Please welcome Dr. Izzo.
Thank you, John, and good evening, everyone. I consider myself fortunate to have known and worked with Dr. Shirley Ann Jackson for more than 3 decades, and I'm extremely proud to call her my colleague and mentor as well as my friend. Congratulations, Shirley, on your milestone anniversary. Dr. Jackson is, in every sense of the word, a leader as it pertains to organizational governance. Her involvement began while she was still a graduate student at MIT, when she was asked to join the Task Force on Educational Opportunity, focused on increasing diversity among MIT's students, faculty, and administration. That appointment put Dr. Jackson on a path to her postdoctoral election to the MIT Board of Trustees, where she remains a lifetime member. In the years that followed, Dr. Jackson has served as both a leader and trusted advisor to organizations across disciplines in science, in government, in education, and in corporate boardrooms. Dr. Jackson's first corporate board assignment at New Jersey Resources Corporation was her entry into the energy sector. Then we knocked on her door. Her board service with PSEG, where earlier this year she was elected to the role of lead director, included time as chair of numerous committees, including our Nuclear Oversight Committee and many others, providing governance for the company's fleet of nuclear power plants. I'm sure everyone here is aware that in 1994, President Bill Clinton was seeking a commissioner for the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission, which regulates the civilian use of nuclear power and materials. After speaking with Dr. Jackson, the president named her chairwoman of the NRC. In addition to PSEG, Dr. Jackson has served on the boards of the most respected companies in America, including IBM, FedEx, and Medtronic. She has put her regulatory experience and technological background to use on the board of the New York Stock Exchange, later NYSE Euronext, serving as chair of the New York Stock Exchange Regulation Board. Over the last decade, she has served in advisory roles for the World Economic Forum, President Barack Obama's Council of Advisors on Science and Technology, and as co-chair of the President's Intelligence Advisory Board. Dr. Jackson has led a truly distinguished career, leaving her mark in the fields of science and research, in academia and public service, and in corporate governance and leadership. And she has earned a reputation as a transformative figure at every stop along the way. Again, congratulations, Dr. Jackson, on your 20th anniversary as president of RPI. It has truly and genuinely been a privilege to work alongside of you. Thank you.
Our next speaker has said that the power to change Rensselaer, and through the university's work to change the world, is in our hands. Indeed it is. Look around you tonight at this magnificent concert hall, inside a truly extraordinary space where the arts, sciences, and technology all meet under one roof. MPAC is changing the world, and its creation is due to the visionary actions of Curtis R. Priam. Mr. Priam has been at the forefront of philanthropy at Rensselaer, a supporter of students and faculty, and an early proponent of President Jackson's vision to transform the Institute into a top-tier technological research university. An entrepreneur and inventor, Mr. Priam is an inspiration to Rensselaer students. Many of the most exciting advances of our day in fields such as autonomous vehicles, computer gaming, deep learning, and artificial intelligence are based on his work. He developed the world's first graphics processor and holds approximately 200 US and international patents. A trustee since 2003 and now secretary of the board, Mr. Priam's enduring belief in and support of Dr. Jackson's leadership is serving to catapult this university into its third century. Welcome, Mr. Priam.
Can you believe that it was 11 years ago this week that we had the ribbon cutting for MPAC? I made a declaration. I made the declaration with the words, "Welcome to the most technologically advanced performing arts center in the world." Tonight at this tribute event, I am proud to say, welcome to the most technological advanced performing arts center in the world. Impact's unchallenged stature could not be possible without the vision and hard work of Dr. Shirley Ann Jackson. I returned to Rensselaer 18 years after graduating. On that weekend in May 2000, the Mueller Center was being dedicated. I asked Nancy Mueller, one of our trustees, how she got permission to build such an enhancement to campus life. And she replied, "Look around, see what the students need, and then make it happen." That same weekend, the kinetic tree sculpture was being dedicated, also donated by Nancy. The new structure replaced one that was called Crinitoid that I had spent 2 semesters as an undergraduate carefully analyzing the mechanical dynamics in the Johnson Engineering Center on its new graphics computer. At that point, on that day in May, I became jealous. I said to myself, that sculpture could have been mine to donate. What could I do to improve this campus, I asked myself. Dr. Jackson knew my musical background and came to me with an idea of building a $50 million performing arts center on campus. The plans at the time showed a venue, combined concert hall, and theater, which was a compromise for both, in my opinion. This fledgling idea of a performing arts center wanted to be so much more. It wanted to be at the intersection of a range of disciplines and research, and I wanted to be involved. Early on, the specifications for this new Performing Arts Center evolved into incorporating the most advanced technology available in the world, even technology that had not been manufactured, like our acoustic fabric ceiling. To donate at this level with no guarantee of financial security was frankly very scary. But Dr. Jackson took me by the hand and we started the journey to impact together. She foresaw that a platform like Impact was needed in order to resonate with the fast approaching future generation of researchers and students. Impact would also be the symbolic embodiment of the creativity Rensselaer embraces. And boy, did it resonate. When Impact opened in 2008, Rensselaer received 4,000 applications for entry into a freshman class of 1,400. Last year, the Institute received more than 20,000 applications, and their SAT scores keep going up. As I reflect back on my first foray in philanthropy, it occurs to me now that I'd be more afraid of not being asked to participate. One of the most gratifying events in life is when one's own passions and dreams to change the world match up with another. And Dr. Jackson is someone you can invest in. She makes sure your donation makes the most impact it possibly can. This quality is hard to find in the nonprofit community. Later, when Dr. Jackson asked my wife, Cindy, and I to participate in funding the Cognitive and Immersive Systems Laboratory and 5 endowed scholarships, we immediately said yes. We were witnessing an incredible research being conducted at CISL, and Cindy keeps bugging me, when do we get to meet our scholars? Participating in and witnessing the effects of our donation is hand down among one of the most life-changing and rewarding experiences. We thank Dr. Jackson for giving us the opportunity to participate, for taking us by the hand, and for enriching our lives. Thank you, Shirley. Tonight's musical program details 2 very unique compositions. The first piano trio was composed by Claude Debussy when he was just 18 years old, about the same age as the talented musicians who will be performing it. The second is by a well-known tango composer, Astor Piazzolla. His arrangement was extended to be a quartet featuring an original marimba arrangement by Gabriel Priem, class of 2022. Shirley, for all you have done, I am honored to present this performance as a gift of music. Now it is my distinct pleasure to introduce the Rensselaer Chamber Ensemble. Please welcome Hannah Lim on violin, Frank Peters on violoncello, our dean, Dr. Mary Simoni, on piano, and my son, Gabriel Preem, on marimba.
That was truly wonderful. Thank you. Here to present a special gift to our guest of honor is Tom Kapik, Senior Vice President of Corning and a 1986 Rensselaer graduate. During his 30-plus year career at Corning, Tom rises to what he calls the best job at Corning, where he spends his time solving the most challenging engineering problems and managing the company's engineering function of more than 5,000 engineers worldwide. As Corning's chief engineer, Tom loves spending time developing the best and the brightest engineering talent. Welcome, Mr. Kapik.
Good evening. Thank you, Dr. Bennett. The pleasure and honor I feel tonight is multifaceted. I'm here to celebrate President Jackson's 20th anniversary and her tremendous influence, and to pay tribute to the great influence RPI has had on my life, on my career, and for my family. My brother John and I graduated from Rensselaer, and today my youngest daughter, Madison, is in her senior year. What's more, I'm able to work regularly with Rensselaer in nurturing our ongoing partnership. The many Corning-Rensselaer research and engineering collaborations are fostering innovations every day. On behalf of Corning, I think Dr. Jackson is coming out. Here. Come here, right next to me. All right, take my picture. On behalf of Corning and Rensselaer, I'd like to recognize Dr. Jackson's 2 decades of transformative leadership. I'd like to present this piece of flawless brilliance, a sculpture of Steuben glass. For more than a century, Steuben has been internationally recognized as the benchmark of excellence in art glass. With its peerless materials, its renowned craftsmanship, and its timeless design. A little history on glass. Steuben was founded in 1903 by the English glassmaster Frederick Carter, who named Steuben after the New York State county where the town of Corning is located. In 1933, Steuben developed a prismatic crystal formula that would capture, reflect, and reflect light unlike any in the world. President Harry Truman's 1947 wedding gift to Princess Elizabeth of England inaugurated a tradition that the United States presidents of every administration continues to this day. And may I take this opportunity and I'll describe this. Dr. Jackson, here we have the beacon of light, a symbol of far-reaching vision in unwavering leadership. The design captures the powerful beam cast out into the storm by the lighthouse. It embodies the essence of Dr. Jackson's brilliance, visionary, and steadfast guidance into Rensselaer's 3rd century. Please join me in honoring Dr. Shirley Ann Jackson. We're not going to pick it up, though.
The evening would not be complete without hearing from the very people who work closely with President Jackson on a daily basis. These highly talented and dedicated staff and cabinet members contribute to the vitality of Rensselaer by supporting the vision so well articulated by Dr. Jackson, and of course by bringing their own strengths to enhancing the Rensselaer experience. Let us welcome members of the Presidential Office Team and the President's Cabinet.
Good evening. It truly is an honor to be a part of this special celebration and join with so many others in honoring the remarkable achievements and contributions of President Jackson and her 20 years of transformative leadership. President Jackson, as your staff, we see firsthand your dedication to every aspect of the Institute. You lead by example and show us every day that pride of place and commitment to excellence will always be the moral compass to follow in all that we do. You guide us with calm and clear direction. You encourage us to reach new heights, to push ourselves to perform at the highest levels, and to create the best versions of ourselves as we serve you and the Institute. You support us in accomplishing all of our goals, both personal and professional, and most importantly, you inspire us.
Dr. Jackson, in October of 1999, we entered into an interim contract to see if our working lives would be compatible with one another. It worked out. I am honored to stand here today, 20 years later, to thank you for that opportunity. Thank you for recognizing that though all of us may have varying degrees of wealth, knowledge, experience, and exposure, every one of us holds a value. It truly does take a village, and I am so happy to be a part of yours.
6 years ago, I honorably accepted the position of Executive Protection Specialist. I was pretty confident that I had the stamina, fortitude, and laser focus to be successful in my role. But there was one element that I overlooked. It was pointed out to me by one CEO who said, "Anyone who works for Shirley Jackson needs to run pretty fast to keep up with her." And how true that is. Dr. Jackson, as we've traveled from city to city for various university events, I have come to realize that you are the ultimate road warrior, in which you have, without a doubt, elevated my stamina, fortitude, and laser focus.
President Jackson, tonight as we all reflect on what you mean to the Institute, and especially to us as individuals, let us offer two simple, heartfelt words. Thank you. The university is a better place because of your leadership, and we are better people because of you.
Good evening. I'm Curtis Powell, the Vice President for Human Resources.
Excuse me, and I am John Kolb, the Vice President for Information Services and Technology and Chief Information Officer here.
John and I, we've had the privilege of working for and with Dr. Jackson for most of the past 20 years, and tonight we would like to highlight some slides of Dr. Jackson during her 2 decades as president of Rensselaer. You know, Dr. Jackson often reminds us that it is important to have depth in some subject area, even though I don't. And in her case, she points to being a physicist and how this helps to define her approach in solving tough problems. Several weeks ago, John challenged me to respond to terminology that a physicist would use to see if I could translate each of those terms and Dr. Jackson's success as president. I don't know why you would want to do that, but anyway, go ahead.
Well, it's all right, Curtis. Let me start with something easy. How about Big Bang?
John, you know, I look at Big Bang as on July 1st, 1999. You know, there was a huge explosion on campus when Dr. Jackson started her tenure as Rensselaer's 18th president.
Okay, Curtis, I'll make this a little harder then. How about cosmic inflation?
But I think that's easy, John. You know, the next 20 years of her leadership has been a fantastic expansion of Rensselaer in every way, faculty, staff, the facilities, and so forth and so on.
Okay, Curtis, constellation.
John, again, this is real easy. In this case, the constellations refers to, and it's a concept that Dr. Jackson has come up with for attracting talented faculty in specific research clusters.
Okay. Exotic particle.
Well, this is going to be interesting. You know, you've heard this evening about Dr. Jackson, very dynamic president. Some might even say that she has the energy of the Energizer Bunny, and she moves faster than the speed of light.
Curtis, critical mass?
Well, to position Rensselaer as a top-tier world-class technological research university, Dr. Jackson has used the critical mass of people, platforms, partnerships, and position Rensselaer for the future.
You forgot programs.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, John.
So, Curtis, chain reaction.
Okay, I'll probably forget something in this one, too. You know, Doctor, and I've heard this over and over, you know, is that Dr. Jackson often says, plan the work and work the plan. And this is why the performance and budget planning processes have had a chain reaction to our success.
A little bit more in Dr. Jackson's area. How about entanglement?
Okay. You know, Dr. Jackson, she's coined the term communiversity. This is where members of our board of trustees, our faculty, staff, leaders, alums, and partners are all dependent on each other to ensure success of Rensselaer.
All right, Curtis, one more. How about excited state?
John, you know, I think that's why we are here this evening. This is an exciting state because we're paying tribute to Shirley Ann Jackson.
So, Dr. Jackson, Curtis and I are here tonight, obviously representing the President's Cabinet and the Dean's Council to thank you for your leadership and the guidance that you provided to each one of us. If Aretha Franklin were still with us, the one word that would sum up our feelings is spelled R-E-S-P-E-C-T. We have talked this evening about your professional accomplishments, but the entire leadership group wanted to recognize the incredible person that you are. So we published a number of pictures which provides a glimpse of the warm and caring person that you show us all the time. These are collected into a picture book, which is signed by each of us. And as Curtis brings this over to you, Dr. Jackson, I'd ask the leadership group to stand and be recognized as we do this. And Dr. Jackson. So in summation, let me thank you for your emphasis on, as we talk about in the plan, quote, excellence, leadership, and community, unquote, as our fundamental values and your leadership in transforming Rensselaer into a top-tier technological research university with global reach and global impact. Godspeed.
At this time, please join me in welcoming to the stage the wind beneath the wings of Dr. Jackson, Dr. Marsh Washington. And she always talks to me about her #1 son, Alan Washington.
Shirley, on behalf of your extended family, it is with great affection and devotion that we add our voices to recognize this achievement of 20 years of transformative leadership at Rensselaer. We are thankful for your devotion, personal warmth, and support as a wife, mother, sister, and aunt. Now, over the years, as you know, we have developed phrases that are shorthanded ways to communicate and support each other. Oftentimes, we will use a phrase to communicate a message that ordinarily would require a longer discussion or explanation. We started such phrase as young Ph.D.s in the research area at Bell Laboratories. When faced with a challenging situation, we would say, bake the cake first and worry about the icing later. This means to us, separate from the challenge a part that you have the solution for and focus on that part first. On many occasions, we understood much more of the challenge and we had a better part of the solution than we realized. Now, that approach has worked well for us, professionally and personally. And over the years, we have come to realize that it's even better if you have someone as a partner to work on the icing while you work on the cake. Now, you have given me credit for providing the wind beneath your wings. I very much appreciate that thought. Now, all of us like to think very highly of our abilities, but honestly, I do not believe that I could generate that much wind to allow you to soar to such great heights and achieve so much as you have. Now, this feeling is very well captured in a song called "You Are the Wind Beneath My Wings." Now, there are a number of versions of this song, but the version that I like best is by Gladys Knight, who also sang my favorite version of another song, "You Are the Best Thing That Ever Happened to Me." Now, this song talks about sharing one's life journey with someone, the ups and the downs. And the song says, for me, I've been lucky. The downs have been few, and it's all because of you. You were there with me between each line of pain and glory because you were the best thing that ever happened to me. Now, I've been very lucky to have you as a partner to share my life's journey with key decisions made along the way, including those about raising a wonderful son, supporting our families, and supporting each other, personally and professionally. We've even taken on some really complicated decisions like, what's the best pull for the kitchen cabinets? Now, we have shared many moments together. And one of my favorite was hearing your address at the opening of the National Museum of African American History and Culture, And we've already heard about the event from John, from the words of Lonnie Bunch. But as you gave that speech, I looked at the audience from my front row seat, and I could tell how much you inspired them. As you talked about growing up in D.C. and what the Smithsonian Museum meant to you as a young African-American girl. Now that day, you were addressing the audience as vice chair of the Board of Regents at the Smithsonian Institute, with many well-known persons on stage and in the audience, including the current president at the time, past U.S. presidents, members of Congress, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, Oprah, Will Smith, and many, many others. Now, the program was recorded, and the camera team would show shots of people in the audience. I was caught on camera with a very proud look on my face. I was having a good time with my front row seat, listening to your speech, and later, I had a seat with the best view of Stevie Wonder as he performed. I was having a good day. Now, since our life-changing meeting at Bell Laboratories, and I will not go into the details of how we met, we have partnered to share and accomplish many things. Now, I have a phrase that summarizes this for us, and I think you would agree that together, we have accomplished more things than a short, black Baptist woman from D.C. and a small farm boy from rural Virginia could have accomplished individually. And I thank you for that partnership. And of all the things that we have accomplished together, I am most proud of is rearing a wonderful son, Alan.
Thank you, Dad, and hi, Mom, and now it's my turn. So, you know, Mom, we as a family, we love our phrases. And you may not know this, but my favorite phrase that you coined many years ago as a form of endearment to me is what Curtis alluded to a moment ago, number one son. Now, as you know, whenever you say number one son, I usually retort, cleverly, I like to think, by saying, well, Mom, I am your one and only son, so it's pretty easy for me to claim that title of number one son. You have a very similar phrase for Dad, number one husband. Dad, in turn, also trying to be witty, usually says, well, Shirley, I hope I'm your only husband right now. Because if you had more than one husband, it would be really awkward. We all start to laugh a little bit just as we are right now, but without skipping a beat, you usually deliver another family phrase, and you say, well, you're confusing the issue with facts. As in, why are you applying logic to this illogical conversation? And then we proceed to laugh some more. Well, since Dad has his phrases and you have yours, I've decided to come up with my own phrase, one for you. It's a phrase that accurately describes you and is, in this case, 100% supported by facts. My phrase is long and very complicated. Are you ready for it? My phrase for you is number one mother. Now, it's pretty obvious why number one is perfect description for you. Everyone here probably knows, particularly your friends from DC, that you were valedictorian of your high school class. You are the first African-American woman to receive a doctorate from MIT in any field. And unless someone in this beautiful room is living under a rock, we all know you are the first African-American woman to lead a top-ranked research university. Yes. Your number one hits are so impressive that we all want to buy your album. However, these number ones have nothing to do with why you aren't number one in my book. To me, the real reason why number one mother is the perfect description for you is that along with all of your achievements, accolades, your increasingly big roles, your absurd number of honorary degrees. You always make time to put your family and particularly your son first. I remember when I was young, you would religiously sit and read with me every night before bed, no matter how much professional work was ahead of you that evening or how early in the morning you needed to leave for work. In addition, every night as I was falling asleep, you reminded me of how much you love me, how proud of me you are, and how much potential I have to do great things in this world so long as I keep working hard. I also remember you constantly playing and singing, and I'm glad you passed that career, but singing Whitney Houston's Greatest Love of All, reminding me that I should never walk in anyone's shadows, that if I fail or if I succeed, at least I live as I believe. No matter what they take from me, they can't take away my dignity, because the greatest love of all is easy to achieve. Learning to love yourself, well, it is the greatest love of all. Teaching me these words, along with all the time you spent encouraging me over the years, has meant and still means so much to me. Perhaps the most selfless gift that you have given me was when Rensselaer came calling and offered you the position of president of this incredible university. You told the board, probably much to their frustration, that you were honored, but that you couldn't assume the role until after I graduated from high school, which was almost a year later. In the end, the board chose wisely and waited for you, while you generously waited for me. And it's clear by the many accounts tonight that the delay worked out exceptionally well for all parties. Nevertheless, it was a bold and extremely generous gesture at the time, and one that I will always be grateful for. I think Time magazine got it wrong when they referred to you as, quote, perhaps the ultimate role model for women in science. I would say you are the ultimate role model, and if I may be so bold, not just for women in science, but for women in all fields, and particularly mothers of color, working to succeed in extremely demanding roles in environments that are highly underrepresented, all while trying to be a present mother. You are living proof that you can be the best mother in the world while also being #1 in your field. So thank you, Mom. Thank you for always putting me and our family first, and for being such an inspiration to all of us. You will always be my #1 mother.
So, Shirley, #1 mother, #1 wife, and #1 president. Alan and I, on behalf of your family, offer our congratulations and wish you continued success.
Now it's my turn. Let me begin by thanking all of you for honoring me in this way. It's very meaningful to me. And you know, I'm always the cool character, so I'll try not to be emotional. But I'd like to leave you with a few thoughts. You know, universities fundamentally are about people, the people we educate, the people who teach them, our faculty, the people who support our educational and research mission, the people whose lives we work to uplift, and the people who are Rensselaer in the world, our alumni and alumnae, and those who are our partners and our overseers. Now, as the wonderful people who have spoken tonight have demonstrated, Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute truly is blessed on that front with our brilliant and focused students. And in the end, they are our future. And the reason that we do what we do, with faculty who do groundbreaking research and are marvelous teachers, with staff who are the great enablers, who make everything possible, from those who are the environmental insight specialists to those who take care of our students every day, with great partners and supporters in industry and in government, and with a board of trustees that offers steadfast support, intellectual, moral, and financial. Now, in my own case, I am especially blessed in having my family, without whom I never could have accomplished what I have accomplished here and throughout my career. Of course, my husband, whom you've heard from, Dr. Morris Washington. I'll tell you the story of how we met separately. But he is assuredly the wind beneath my wings. My wonderful son, number one son, Alan Washington, from whom I learned so much. Now, they're Washington and I'm Jackson to protect the innocent. My siblings, my sisters, Dr. Barbara Avery and Ms. Gloria Joseph Esquire, who are here tonight. My brother, George Jackson, who is deceased. And our dear parents, George and Beatrice Jackson, who are no longer with us, but who gave us such a wonderful foundation in their fundamental belief in the power of education, the value of hard work, and the quest for excellence. But one never does anything alone, and I want to publicly thank and acknowledge my dearest friends, a number of whom also are here this evening. Now, I owe a special recognition and thank you to the CEOs of the great American corporations who brought me into their boards of directors, including, as you've heard, FedEx, IBM, Public Service Enterprise Group, and Medtronic. And I especially want to thank and acknowledge Dr. Ralph Izzo, the chairman and CEO of PSEG, for participating in the program this evening, knowing that you have to fly off to Asia tomorrow morning. I also must thank the business and nonprofit leaders of the Greater Capital Region who are here, including Mr. James Barba, who is the CEO of Albany Medical Center, and of course, Dr. John Bennett, our fabulous MC this evening. Let's give him a round. And then ones I've gotten to know more recently, Mr. Norman Dasher and Mr. David Howson of the Hyde Collection, as well as fellow university presidents. I also owe a debt of gratitude to the great scientists and engineers who were my mentors. Dr. Millie Dresselhaus, the queen of carbon science, who inspired me when I was a student at MIT. Dr. Paul Gray, one of my dear friends, the associate provost and later president of MIT, with whom I had my first experience of real leadership as we worked together to bring more underrepresented minority students to MIT, and who strongly supported my becoming chairman of the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission, including writing to the president. Dr. Mary Kay Gaillard, the great theoretical elementary particle physicist, whose birthday I just went to celebrate her 80th birthday, who among many achievements predicted the mass of the charm quark and offered guidance to experimentalists searching for charm and for the Higgs boson. She became my dear friend at Fermilab, the Fermi National Accelerator Lab, my first job, and took me to CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research. And radio astronomer and Nobel laureate Dr. Arno Penzias, who was vice president of research when I was at Bell Labs, who, as you know, discovered the cosmic microwave background radiation that verified the Big Bang Theory, not Curtis's Big Bang Theory, the theory of the origin of our universe, and who took the time to give me important career advice at a critical juncture in my career, and did it on a regular basis, as important and as busy as he was. And there are many others at MIT, at Bell Labs, at Rutgers University, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, of course, Rensselaer, the corporate boards, the professional societies and organizations, and of course, US Presidents Bill Clinton and Barack Obama. Now, I have to say that there are special people who do special things and with whom you have a special relationship. And one of those is Dr. John E. Kelly III of IBM, a very dynamic man, and we've done great things. Of course, our greatest benefactor, Mr. Curtis Preem, for whom this wonderful place is named. Now, my father's advice to me always was to aim for the stars, to reach the treetops. And he said, and at any rate, at least you'll get off the ground. Now, our parents aimed me and my siblings for the stars. All of my mentors aimed for the stars and gave me the guidance and the courage to do the same. And if one aims for the stars, one always wants to take the good and make it great, and take the great and make it even greater. And that was the opportunity offered to me when I was asked to assume the presidency of Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. It was the vision of the Rensselaer Board of Trustees and of my very great friend and then chair of the Board of Trustees, Samuel Hefner, that brought me to Rensselaer in 1999. And I always will be grateful to Sam for supporting my leadership and for allowing me to be the change agent that he and the board knew Rensselaer needed. Now, never wavering once, he backed the Rensselaer plan, which embodied the vision I had for Rensselaer, and which laid out a strategic blueprint that we developed as a community for a renaissance here, a renaissance at Rensselaer. Even though that change on the scale proposed never was going to be easy, and it was not, and has not been easy. But the board never wavered, and Sam never wavered. To me, Sam Hefner was more than just a board chair or a trusted advisor. He was one of my very best friends. His courage and his confidence in me were inspiring. And I also want to call out again the secretary of our Board of Trustees, Curtis R. Preem, of the Rensselaer class of 1982. Now, Curtis has always backed me and the Rensselaer plan. He is our greatest benefactor in support of plan initiatives, and I'm very grateful to him and his wife, Cindy, for their continued commitment to Rensselaer. I also have been blessed with other past and the current leadership of the board. Our board chair, Mr. Arthur Golden, who is here tonight, our vice chair, whom you heard from, Ms. Wanda Denson-Lowe, and again, our secretary, Curtis Preem, and the entire Board of Trustees in its guidance and support of me in challenging times and in their support of the Institute as a whole. If you're here, I think you're in the parterre, I want to ask the board to stand and be recognized, please. Thank you. Now, everyone who knows me knows that I am a change agent, and some people think I'm a tough taskmaster. But no one knows this better than my own leadership team and the staff in the office of the president. And so I want to thank all of you, and I want to ask them, the cabinet, the Dean's Council, and my personal staff to stand and be recognized. Now, those of you who know me know that I also always try to understand the root of an issue or of a place before taking action. And at its root, Rensselaer has the most extraordinary mission, the application of science to the common purposes of life. Now, the founders of this essential institution believe that innovation fundamentally is about service, that scientific and technological progress is about understanding our world and beyond, about protecting and enhancing human life. The people who have been educated at Rensselaer have dedicated themselves to that particular form of service for nearly 200 years. Whether their innovations have protected us or enhanced us economically or opened up new frontiers for us, as did George Low of the class of 1948, the 14th president of Rensselaer, who led the Apollo program that first brought astronauts to the moon 50 years ago this year. From the very beginning of my tenure at Rensselaer, we have honored that extraordinary legacy by establishing as our markers, as you've heard, excellence, leadership, and community. And every decision that we have made under the Rensselaer Plan was held up to those markers. In fact, in my inaugural address, and I tell people I'm always consistent, I said that excellence would be the mantra and the metric in all that we do, that leadership must be claimed in research and in pedagogy, and community is what we are because there is one Rensselaer. And I have tried to live up to those ideals, as have you, as we have come down this road together. And look at what we have accomplished together. People have given you details, but we have transformed Rensselaer to what it is today, to a full research university with a unique undergraduate college, if you can think of it that way, embedded within it, one with global reach and global impact. We have recruited world-class faculty. We put a stake in the ground in new fields and new research thrusts, and with astonishing new platforms, including our Center for Biotechnology and Interdisciplinary Studies, our Center for Computational Innovations, and of course, the Curtis R. Prim Experimental Media and Performing Arts Center, where we're here tonight. Now, we have expanded existing critical partnerships, as you've heard, and we have forged important new ones in research and education, including in our affiliation with Corning Incorporated, with the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai, and of course our groundbreaking research efforts with the IBM Corporation, things like the Jefferson Project that you heard about, and the Cognitive and Immersive Systems Laboratory at Impact. All of these enabled by our magnificent computational ecosystem, also enabled by IBM and by its great executive vice president, John E. Kelly III. Thank you, John. And we have innovated. You know, we don't sit still pedagogically, adding 24, as you've heard, new degree programs in emerging disciplines such as our technologically inflected Bachelor of Science degree in music, our top-ranked programs in games and simulation arts and sciences, and in information technology and web science, our new institute-wide focus on data dexterity and required undergraduate courses in data science and data analytics, our Ph.D. program in biochemistry and biophysics, and many more. And we have launched, as you've also heard, ArtX, focusing on what I call the art in and of science and the science in and of art. And there's much more. With the Arch, we have taken on a bold and transformative approach to undergraduate education by restructuring the academic calendar, offering our students remarkable new opportunities to engage in self-discovery and professional growth, both during their junior summer after the sophomore year here on the campus, and during an away semester within the traditional junior year that allows them to go out and spend a more extended time and still graduate within the usual time frame. But importantly, and this is very important and important to me, we have created a more engaging, enjoyable, and fulfilling student experience by initiating the Office of the First Year Experience and Navigating Rensselaer and Beyond, and expanding them to class, clustered learning advocacy, and support for students. And we have vastly improved and continue to work to improve our students' living and learning environments with new and renovated residence halls and upgraded classrooms and laboratories and other infrastructure, including the East Campus Athletic Village. And in all of these efforts, we have worked fundamentally to create Rensselaer as a place where our students embrace their unique talents and qualities, where they expand their perspectives as they learn from one another, and where they discover, understand, and nurture each other's dreams and aspirations to know that they can change the world. In sum, we have stayed the course towards excellence, leadership, and community for 2 decades. And while I have lasted longer than most college presidents these days, we still have a few more laps to go together, because there is more for us to do as we look to mitigate and address climate change and its influence on our food, water, and energy supplies, to make full use of remarkable new tools in data, artificial intelligence, and computation, to invent new ways to secure cyberspace, to invent new approaches to our own security, to discover how to treat poorly understood diseases such as Alzheimer's, but importantly, to empower people everywhere, to uplift their lives, to improve their health, their security, their welfare. And as many of you have heard this evening, the paradigm of the new Polytechnic invites and supports that exploration and bold action. And it does so by Rensselaer serving as a crossroads where people from around the world and from all socioeconomic levels, but with great focus and ability, and with a multiplicity of experiences and perspectives, can come together to challenge themselves and each other, and to find and hone a sense of purpose that undisputedly is their own. Yet also understanding that that purpose is greater than themselves by addressing humanity's great challenges and, I would say, the opportunities those challenges present. Now, here at Rensselaer, we have a great legacy, and so we appreciate the past, but we do not live in it. We understand that you cannot hold back the future by clinging to the past. So we create that future, and we understand our responsibility to leave the world better than how we found it. It has been a privilege and a signal honor to serve as your president, as president of Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute for these 20 years, as we all serve the common purposes of life. And I thank all of you. I thank all of you for being here and anticipate many, many more great things to come. So let us do a few more laps together. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Dr. Jackson, I see fireworks, even before they begun. What better way to conclude this tribute than with dessert and fireworks? Thank you all for joining us tonight and recognizing 20 years of transformative leadership. Please join us for a reception at Evelyn's Cafe, directly outside the concert hall in the Impact Main foyer. Thank you.